Okay, this lesson is about percentage of completion. Percentage of completion revenue accounts can be accessed under the standard ledger drivers section on the task list. So you're going to add a row of revenue just like any other standard revenue type. So I've gone to a new sheet. I'm going to expand the task list and I'm going to come right here to modify revenue forecast drivers. You see we've already got a bunch in here that are external revenue volume recurring. We want to add percentage of completion. Right-click Smart View, add a row. Now for account, here's where I'm going to pick up the percentage of completion revenue account. So I just type the word percent as a shortcut. Bring that over to the right. Say OK. And now you get 10 drivers per revenue account, so I can start over with driver 1 and add as many distinct revenue drivers as I expect I'll need. Just like the other standard revenue types. Okay, my rows have been added. You'll see if I scroll down a little bit. My 3 drivers for percentage of completion. I can now select my revenue type, which should be fixed, because you're going to enter the fixed charge. You can make a comment. And then plan when your milestones are going to be met and when you're going to get your percentage payments. Enter the payments with a quantity of 1, and they can vary as much or as little as you expect they will in reality. You can even do something like this. A shortcut, you can cut and paste the driver type, since it will be fixed charge for the other percentage of completion drivers as well. They can be consolidated. You can itemize them by contract, depending what you want to do. So based on analysis outside the system, I know when I'm expecting revenue, and I can go ahead and enter it. Again, I need a P and a Q for everything. I can cut and paste. I can also do something like this. Control C, Control V, etc., etc. So once I've got my revenue entered, I submit, of course, so I don't lose my work. This will also validate that my entries are valid and everything turned green. We're ready to go. I'm going to submit a calculation. Okay, our calculation has completed, and you see the calculated value of revenue for each driver. So let me slide to the right a little bit. So we've got values there. So let's go to our adjustment web form right here. And we see under our calculated revenue at the moment, we only show volume recurring. So I'm going to refresh the form. And if everything worked as designed, we will see, there we go, percentage of completion across the months based on the fixed amounts we put in back here on our revenue web form. Now that you've entered your revenue, you have to decide how to handle the expenses. Now this really depends how your business has set up their planning cost centers. If your percentage of completion work, if your expenses trend the same as other revenue types in the same planning cost center, you can simply trend the expense types. If the trending is very different, you can set up 2 expense drivers, and I'll show you how to do that. So in this example, well, in these words here, I'm saying, if one type of driver is, if your percentage of completion is 80% of the business and the other revenue types are 20%, you can use a P of 0.2 and a P of 0.8 for each expense account, and then select different expense driver types. Okay, so let's cover how that's done. So we've got a 12-month average for our other services and supplies already, And we've got a little bit of activity in this account. So just to show you how this would work, I'm going to set up another driver, add a row, and I'm just going to take a couple shortcuts here. We're already using driver 1, so I'm going to go with driver 2. I didn't surf for the account. It should know which account I was on. And here it comes. Okay, so now I have a driver 1 for services and supplies and a driver 2. Here we go. And I'm going to, I could change my trending. Let's just say, 3-month average. And let's just say we want to trend our POC that way, and we want to trend our non-POC a different way. And we come over here. Remember, this is non-POC, and let's say it's 20%. So we can go with a 0.2, and this is our POC, and this can be 0.8. One way to do it. So I've shrank the screen down a little bit so you can see both drivers at the same time. So real quick, Control-C, Control-V, and Control-C, Control-V. So two different revenue types, driver types with the different trending, 80%, 20%, submit, and then we will calculate. Okay, while this, I stopped the recording and I thought better. I wanted to show apples to apples, so I changed the driver type to be the same. So you can see that 20% of the expense is 843. 80% of the expense trend is 3370 down here. So that's one way to split your expenses between two different revenue types.